Welcome. Stop the track. Run that back.
Here we go.
Second time out. Welcome. No. Welcome to another live edition of the Good Guys podcast. My name is Brandon Dixon. I'm a happily married man and a humble father of four. And as always, I am joined by none other than the Honorable, the Reverend Slim Rev, aka Joshua Ezzy.
What's good, BD?
Hey man, I'm over here trying to make it, man. Hey, this podcast is live. If you didn't know it before, it is live, guys. There will be no edits.
Hey man, there's no edits in life.
There's no edits in life. You just got to rip it. You just got to step out on faith. And even if your voice cracks, you have to know that the God that you serve is more than able to see you through that setback.
Yeah, man. Sometimes your setback is just setting you up for a comeback, BD.
How many seconds into the podcast are we? And we are preaching, J.E. We're not even 2 minutes into the podcast.
Hey, the Bible says be ready in season and out of season, BD.
Let's go. All right. Well, we've got a great episode for you guys here today. We're on fire. I'm on fire. We missed a week last week. J.E. was taking a much needed and much deserved vacation. All right. Yes. The hardest working man on YouTube.
Yes.
How was the vacation, J.E.? How was the time with the family?
Man, you can't replace time with family, BD. You can't. I left my lights. I left everything here. I didn't bring no work with me but my books. I just worked on my books while I was out there. Man, but
You're not supposed to be working on vacation, J.E.
Hey, man, it's writing a book, BD.
That's work.
That's not work. Videos is work.
Writing a book is definitely work.
Well, either way, who writes the rules? Yeah, I enjoyed it, man. I can count on half of a hand how many vacations I've had in my life. So that right there, 2 of those vacations was with my wife's family. I don't remember vacations growing up. I don't remember, And so it was a great experience, man. But I don't like vacations much, BD.
Why is that?
If I can't stay a month, then why vacate?
Okay.
It was motivating. It was definitely, it's that last day at the beach where that water hit my toes, man. I looked at that big body of water and said, listen, I'll probably be back before I'm here for a long period of time, but I will be back here. And the next time it'll be on my terms.
Okay.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, bro, vacations was good. Enjoyed the family, but I was glad to get back because I'm a worker. It's hard to be a week away from producing and creating, and but family and those things have its time and place, and it was beautiful and amazing. But it was time to get back to the money. Just joking. Get back to that purpose, man. Get back to making moves. Getting back to making things happen, so that when I get back to the beach, I'm there for a long time.
Okay. I respect that. I feel that. Yeah, man. Vacations, they're good. They're good. But I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, sometimes vacations just, I feel you. Like sometimes like I feel a certain type of way about going to the beach and going on vacation, knowing that it's only for like 4 or 5 days. And it's like, but this isn't my real life. Like, I think for a lot of people, it's like, okay, that's your time to get away and relax and stuff like that and rejuvenate. And I don't know. I haven't taken one in a few years, so maybe that is true, and maybe I'm missing out on that. But it just like it doesn't make me feel relaxed. It makes me mad.
Yeah.
But anyway, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, man. Vacations are great, man. But I like staycations, bro.
Right.
Staycations, man.
Right. Like I'm taking a month off and we going out to the Bahamas or something like that. Like that's the kind of vacations I'm trying to take. So.
Yeah, but the good thing, BD, we're young. We can actually make that happen.
This is true. And my airing a grievance has something to do with that. But before I get into that, all right, if you are watching this podcast and you enjoy the content that we put out every week, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Okay. And if you are a loyal subscriber, thank you. I'm Rusty. This is why we can't miss a week.
Yeah.
If you are a loyal subscriber, we definitely appreciate it. Help us out. How you can help us out now? Smash that like button. Okay. Smash the like button. Hop in the comment section and comment. If you're watching live, comment live. If you're watching this later, tomorrow or next week or whenever you're watching, hop in the comments. All right. Tell us what you think about the topics that we're talking about. You can recommend topics that you want us to talk about in the future. Whatever the case may be, just drop us a comment. All right. Other than that, JE, you got anything you putting out this week? I know you back from vacation. I know you back on the grind.
Come on, man. Does the coach not? Does the coach stop, bro? He don't stop. Okay. Monday, we got a video, 10 ways to keep a good name. That video dropped Monday. It talks about why it's important to have a good name over riches and whatnot. And today's Monday too. Today's video was how to move in silence. So I have these new videos called Little Reminders. It's hard for an old school style preacher to bring things down under 5 minutes, but I'm mastering that side of the craft. And so you'll be getting little videos between 3 to 5 minutes from me. But this week's video of Tuesday was moving in silence. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about 13 signs he's husband material. And then on Thursday, we'll be talking about not standing by closed doors. And Fridays, we're going to be talking about 6 signs that they are a good friend.
Okay.
Yep.
Prolific. I see you out here grinding.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we here.
That's what's up. All right. The B&B family, we've doing some rebranding. All right. So our family channel is now called the B&B channel. The B&B family. So check that out. If you get a chance, hit the subscribe button. Me and my wife, we dropped a video, I think Sunday, talking about Married at First Sight. Y'all know we watch Married at First Sight. So we break down each episode. So check that out if you get the opportunity. And we'll be dropping a video, I think, tomorrow as well. So check that out, the B&B family. Check out Josh's videos. With all that out of the way, all right, it is time to get into today's episode. And we're going to start, as we customarily do, with the weekly airing of grievances. All right. And I don't have a long drawn out one today, JE. Life is good. All right. Nothing major that's really just got on my nerves. But my weekly airing of grievance today is, it's something that I should be grateful for. I should. Okay. But sometimes so my birthday was this past week, JE. July 22nd was my birthday.
Happy birthday, BD.
Thank you. Yeah. Not a problem. But here's the thing, JE. When you get north of 30 years old, birthdays just hit different.
They don't hit the same.
When when you're 5, when you're 6, you're excited about birthdays. I'm getting older. I'm going to be able to, have more, stay up later and eat the kinds of food that I want to eat and do what I want to do and get a job. These are the things that we really in our mind wanted when we were younger, JE.
We didn't know what we was asking for.
We didn't know. And, those birthdays were fun because of that fact. It was, I'm getting older. Getting older was a great thing at that time. But when you turn north of 30, see, about the time you're 30, you probably have a job. You probably, have some responsibilities, either a child or, you've been at your job for a while and, you've maybe moved up in the corporate ladder a little bit. Maybe you're in a managerial position, whatever the case may be. You've got bills, you may have student loans. You have responsibilities.
Yeah.
And furthermore, you're getting older. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? And it's not, I'm still relatively young, but it's just like you start to think about, your mortality,
Yeah.
Your time, the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
and it just hits different. That I mean, that's all I really have. There's nothing deep. There's nothing, and I mean, yes, we still celebrate birthdays. I celebrate birthdays. You have a good time. It just hits different. I don't know. I don't know, Je. And it's probably this may not be everybody. This is just BD, but it's just different.
Yeah, man, I understand, BD. Like this year, I'll be turning 35. That's 15 years from 20 and 15 years from 50. Though that's a big number, bro. But one thing I realized was don't rush it. Enjoy the moment you are in.
That's true.
Because I mean, once you start thinking about mortality, once you start thinking about death, like you have to get over that hump as quickly as possible. That's one thing I had to get over. I had to get over that, JE, death is a part of life. And one thing I realized was, okay, if death is a part of life and I can exhibit habits that increases life, then let me live my life to the best. That's what I had to realize, man. But getting older, man, it's cool until you start thinking that you're 15 years from 50. And I think that's what kind of made me think a little bit like, oh, slow the brakes down, young boy.
Right. It's like
slow the brakes
that
because
next birthday don't have to roll around so quick. You can take your time.
You remember as a young kid how slow birthdays came around?
Right. You'll be waiting the whole year.
Your whole life you waiting for one birthday.
It'd be coming around like,
bruh, it's August. It's basically August. Like Kobe died, bruh. EG, bruh. Pop Smoke, bruh. Pandemics, George Floyd. NBA cancellation. NBA back in 6 months. Bruh, next thing, I'm like, bruh, as long as they don't be canceling Yellow Cake with Chocolate, that's why this birthday, bro, on my way past the first half of the year, I'm taking my time.
Okay.
Because 35, man, and to think about 15 years is still 15 years. It's not like it's 5 years from 50. But that just lets me know as a man, that's what this beach trip did for me, bro. It made me say, yo, you can't be 40-something still trying to get it.
Right.
And what I mean by that, use your 30s wisely, JE. And now, don't get me wrong, the real estate of my 30s have been used well. But now it's time to get up to a place of generational wealth and really getting up there where I can at least enjoy my 30s with some good change in the pocket, BD. Where I can go to the beach for 2 months, BD. Hey, but getting old is great.
Yeah, man. You get older, you get wiser, you grow more and more seasoned in your relationship with God.
We're basically Lowry's right now, BD.
You say what?
We're basically Lowry's. We so seasoned right now, BD. Because the way these young generations, they need us, BD.
Yeah.
Other generations, they had their 30s and 40s to use up and not be needed. Then when they got 50 and 60, now they were needed. Because our generation wasn't as loosey-goosey. They need us now, BD.
They need us now.
Think about our generation, BD. We're the only generation, our age group, I'm talking about 30s-year-olds, are the only ones that can remember payphones, bro.
Yeah.
House phones.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, shawty, man, you mind if I reach out to you, man? What's your AOL Instant Messenger? What's your AIM?
Yeah. Yeah.
My first cell phone wasn't until I graduated high school.
We had to actually spit game,
Bruh, that's why we're so witty, bruh. These kids are not sharp.
No.
Because BD, that's why my airing of graciousness. My airing of graciousness.
Let's do
or
that.
Gratitude. Airing of gratitude, bro.
Yeah.
I am so glad, bro. The cards that I was dealt. I'm so glad I wasn't light-skinned, hazel eyes with wavy hair. I'm so glad I didn't grow up in the north side of Charlotte, privileged with a basketball goal in concrete. I am so glad.
I feel like you're describing someone, and I think someone in particular. I don't.
Well, I'm just so glad that I grew up the way I grew up. You know why? I had to work hard for everything. That's why I leave no scraps on the table, BD. And that's why I'm so thankful, man. Because, bruh, in order for us to pull BD, we had a spit game, and we wasn't the best basketball players on our teams. We wasn't the most I wasn't the most attractive guy around, right? And that's why we here at BD, because of the cards that I was dealt, and then life eventually dealt you later on in life.
Yeah, man. They got it easy this generation.
Yeah,
The world as a whole. I mean, it's so easy. I lament for my children that they will not have the the determination and the ability to fight through adversity that we had. You don't have to fight through anything. Anything they want, they can do on their phone.
That's right. And that's the unfortunate thing that I think we all have to be careful about: convenience. Sometimes convenience keeps us childlike, right? Because adversity builds character. And so when I see a lot of people who are younger or caught up in this generation's convenience, y'all whining about that? Y'all, I mean, why are you whining? Let's work. Let's fight through adversity. That's why, BD, I'm not nervous about who's coming up and coming. I'm not worried about it, because work ethic beats talent any day. And I think we as a whole, as a people, have to stop complaining and stop, because of convenience, getting comfortable. Some of the adversity that people whine about, I'm like, bro, that ain't nothing.
Right.
And I ain't trying to go down my soapbox, BD. I'm already clean. I'm already took my shower for the day. No need for no soap. Okay. But I'm just telling you, man. I'm just glad that I'm there's a lot to be thankful for. And 35 is a great year, BD.
I'm 34.
Oh, I'm talking about me. I ain't talking about you, BD. I'll be 35. This is my errand of gratitude. But embrace your 34, bro, because my 34, hey, it happened on the 2020 year. And it's going by fast, bro.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into the main topic of the day.
And I see the comments. We're not attacking y'all's generation. We're giving wisdom to your generation. We're just saying y'all got it easier. We're not saying that you got it easy. Y'all got great accommodations.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their challenges. Everybody has their struggles.
Yeah.
But there are some things that, our generation, we some of the conveniences that this generation has, we didn't necessarily have.
Do you remember the library, BD? You had to pull that thing out to look for indexes to find something?
Right.
We didn't have no Google.
It wasn't no Google. It wasn't no computers. It was the I don't even remember what it was called.
There was no GPS.
There was no GPS. You had to go on MapQuest and print out the directions.
And if you didn't have no printer, bruh,
you had to memorize it. You had to write it down. Okay. There was no, bruh, we went to a hotel, and this is an airing of grievance.
Go ahead, BD.
Hotels in 2020. There's no reason for you not to have a smart TV. All right. Okay, like the budget hotels, got it. Check. But if I'm paying upwards of, you know what I mean, $100, $200 a night, there should be a smart TV. I say that to say this. There was a time when there weren't smart TVs, and we found out the hard way just how hard that used to be. Me and my wife, we were like, what are we supposed to do with this?
Man,
we have to watch what's actually on TV right now? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Bruh, I don't know how we did it before. I used to, because I look at my kids and I'm like, they watch a lot of TV. I try to, prevent them from watching as much TV. And I'm like, I didn't watch that much TV when I was little. I see why. The only thing you could watch is what was actually on TV.
Yeah, man. You had to wait till Slap the Mama. What was that? Think TGIF?
TGIF.
Saturday mornings for a brief moment before mom took the TV.
Yeah. And that was it.
And then right after the school bus, right when you get off the school, Magic School Bus, Wishbone, Arthur, DuckTales. That was it.
We had to watch Arthur. You think these kids are watching Arthur? they're gonna watch Arthur a day in their life when they have YouTube at their disposal.
Yeah,
We had
man.
to watch Arthur.
We had no choice. This the story of Wishbone, the wagon of the tail, Darkwing Duck. What's other songs, man? Doug. Then as we got older, no wonder we was looking at cartoons at 16 and 17 years old.
Right.
Watching, well, Kim Possible was my favorite show back in the day, bro. But anyway, probably should have said that live.
Yeah, that's something you keep to yourself.
Oh no, Even Stevens. Man, he had some good programming back in the day. BD's favorite show was SpongeBob, and you kind of see where, anyway.
Hey, look, man. SpongeBob.
Bro, you should have doubled down on SpongeBob. Now that SpongeBob came out, bro.
I'm mad he came out. I mean, I'm mad that they announced that. I don't think that was necessary. SpongeBob was a good show, man. It was funny, man. It was funny.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, enough nostalgia. We're going to go ahead and get into the main topic of the day, which is we're going to be talking about 5 things that push men away. All right. Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. I don't really have anything else to go into as far as that. We'll go ahead and jump into it. All right, number 1, talking about 5 things that push men away. The number 1 thing that can push a man away is to be constantly nagging and just to be generally just contentious, right? Nobody wants to, the Bible talks about it. It is better to be on the roof of a house than to be in a house, in the house with a contentious woman. And I mean, obviously it goes both ways, but today we're talking about things that can push a man away. So, if you are constantly just nagging about every little thing, if you're constantly looking to, start an argument or find something to be upset over, that is something that's going to push a man away. There has to be grace within any relationship, within the context of any relationship. You have to have grace. You have to have patience. Nobody is perfect. And I think a lot of times we're looking for our significant other to be this perfect, ideal that we have. And especially when you get married, you're going to find out that they're not. Nobody is. Nobody's perfect. So you have to pick your battles is basically what it comes down to. And that's something that I've learned over the course of our marriage is, you have to pick your battles. You can't, every little thing that your significant other does is not something that you need to bring to, their attention every time they do it. So that is, that's the number 1 thing. If you're just constantly nagging, a guy doesn't want to hear that all the time. Like, we don't want to hear that all the time. We know we're not perfect. And again, you have to pick your battles. Are there times when you do need to bring things to a man's attention? 100%. Like I know I rely on my wife, to point things out to me that sometimes I don't recognize or don't, I'm not paying attention to, because I think a lot of times women are more sensitive, to certain things, whereas we sometimes aren't. We're not paying attention to it. Sometimes we're just black and white. We're just focused on the objective. And so, yeah, we need, women to point out, flaws to us sometimes, point out some things, major, character flaws or major, hey, the bills need to be paid. The light, they just turned the lights off. Can you pay the bill? Like, for sure. I would totally expect my wife to nag and fuss me out if I didn't pay the bill. But just constantly nagging over every little thing, that is the number 1 thing I think that will push a man away.
Yeah, I think we all just have to understand patience. I think we really all, men and women, and since we're talking about women, I think I'm not a woman, so I'm not going to even try to even process like I am one. But I just know we as men, typically we think 3 moves ahead. Typically we a good man, a solid man, a responsible man is pretty much on his job, right? And so I don't know where the nagging culture comes from or the contentiousness come from, but I think most of the issues that boils down to women and men is insecurities. It's almost as if that there's some need for perfection or some need for spot onness, which to the point to where I'm going to keep bugging you, I'm going to keep nagging you until I get something, right? And so nagging by definition is constantly harassing someone to do something. So the question is, does that something need to be done right now? There always cannot be a something that must happen. And if you have that frame of mind that you're so that you're micromanaging the home, then that man ain't going to want to come home. There has to be understanding. There has to be empathy. There has to be some level of you're a human, and I'm going to let you breathe in this home where grace becomes the air that you can actually breathe in, and mistakes will happen. But because the more you become contentious, the more nagging you become, you will make that man feel that his misdemeanor mistake he's going to receive or feel like he's receiving maximum punishment. Because every time that you're constantly looking at the details and it has to be done now and you're not really thinking, that's why I don't plan on doing that to my kids, man. Because I understand how that was growing up as a kid, where you're like, do this, do that, do this, do that. Like there has to be some level of, yo, would I like to be nagged like this? Especially when someone has given proof of growth, especially when someone is progressing. We're not talking about being and you shouldn't even be in that situation. You shouldn't even be married to a man, relationship with a man that you have to nag, that you have to be on him to do something. We're just talking about the micromanaging things of life, where this perfectionistic ideology where this got to be done right now, almost to the point to where it seems attention seeking. Insecurity and attention seeking. Like I'm going to try to get your attention as much as possible. So let me have you around, make you do something and harass you because maybe I don't have nothing to do with my own life. Maybe I don't really have my own goals. And maybe I just grew up in a home or a culture where that was predominant. I think that for a lot of people's marital traits came from how their home was. Their mom was a nag. Their mom was always, whatever. But let me slide over to the contentious side. You don't want to be a woman that's always causing arguments. Like, are you looking for answers or are you looking to argue? And I think men and women have to really look at themselves and ask themselves, especially women right now under this topic. We're not talking about out more so than men, but you have to get to a place where you say, man, why do I always want to argue? Is the reason why I always want to argue is for attention purposes?
Mm-hmm.
And we have to make sure that we don't get so caught up in the culture of how marriage has been portrayed that we start mimicking what we have seen. I mean, if you look at all the TV shows, that's all we've seen women as to be to a degree. Either a woman is just a super servant individual or a woman is always nagging and whatever. And there has been a false image of how men has been presented as a man that always sits on the couch, a man that's lazy, a man don't do anything. And then they portrayed that side and boosting the side of the woman to act as if, come on, Johnny, come on, Jimmy, do this. It's like we got to get to the place where we allow grace to be the atmosphere for each and every one of us to grow in realistically.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think that's a major point. And I think it's, people have, especially when it comes to marriage, I think a lot of people don't understand or don't like just fully grasp the fact that is your teammate, right? So nobody wants that teammate who's constantly pointing out every single thing that they did wrong, like on the basketball court. Hey, you missed that rebound. Hey, you were late on the pick and roll. Like nobody wants somebody constantly pointing out every single flaw that they make. In a marriage, especially, that's your teammate. So it's not about trying to be right. It's not about trying to win arguments. It's not trying to, beat them on the scoreboard of who's doing the most right stuff and who's doing stuff wrong. Like, that's your teammate. So the point is, hey, if there's an issue, how can we, collectively, how can we overcome this? How can we fix this? If it's something that you need to do, hey, this is what needs to be done. Here's what's going to happen if it doesn't get done. Here's the time frame in which it needs to be done. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, if you want, I can knock it out. I mean, and normally that's what works for me. I'm gonna be honest. Like sometimes my wife be wanting me to do stuff, and I'm dragging my feet on it, and she's like, "Hey, look, I can go ahead and do it if you want." I'll be like, "Nah, I got it,"
Yeah.
because you know what I mean. Like in my heart is like I know that's my responsibility and that's what I need to do. I just got so many other things that I'm thinking about or whatever. But as soon as she says I'll do it, it's like, whoa, 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 no, let me go ahead and handle it.
Yeah.
So you just have to know your partner. You just have to figure out what makes them tick. You know, you have to figure out a way to make it work. But constant nagging is just not the answer.
Yeah, you can't spell team. You can't spell. There's no I in team, is what I'm trying to say. And usually, insecure, selfish people want the team to be centered around them.
Yeah.
And that's why we all have to make sure, or ladies have to make sure, since we're talking about ladies here, that you're not, because what they say, misery loves company. And so usually people who are controlling or nagging are miserable. So they want the man to be miserable so they can feel company. Because if it's hard to see, it's hard to be happy when you don't know what happiness looks like. Right. And so what happens is you think happiness is just having someone around you or controlling. And you have to understand that happiness is not spelt in perfection. There's no such thing as perfection. So if you look into, I just want my marriage to be perfect and like this, you're never going to be happy because there's nuances to everyone's marriage distinctively.
Right.
My marriage is not the same as BD's marriage. There's different nuances. And once you get into marriage as a woman, you're going to realize that you're going to have to really understand that man down to the personality trait, down to the how he moves and how he operates, how he processes. Is he a multitasker? How does he handle this angle of communication? Did you come from a very militant, strong family? Could it be your tone? Could it be like, I mean, my wife and I, we talked about that we both have very strong tones. Strong tones. I got a Nigerian tone, and sometimes I remember that was in our own counseling session. My pastor was telling my wife that he's never met a non-proud, and non-passionate Nigerian. But I used to get loud, and my wife thought I was arguing. Or my wife has a teacher background, so sometimes when she talked to me, it was like a teacher. So we both had different tones, and we're like, the reason for our arguments is a lack of understanding of how our tones are and how our tones are received. And that's what we have to understand, because it could be that nagging could just be your type of tone.
Right.
And we all just have to, basically what we're saying for this point is get to know each other to such a degree that most arguments are rarely ever seen, because y'all know each other and there's no need to nag. And when you feel yourself nagging or feeling yourself contentious, you got to ask yourself, where does your joy come from? Is marriage your idol? Is that the reason why you're unhappy? Because you thought marriage is supposed to be perfect? Because anything you idolize will hurt you. Pretty much what we're trying to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We're going to go ahead and go to the second point, talking about 5 things that will push a man away. Number 2, expecting too much too soon. So unrealistic expectations. That's something that can definitely push a man away. And, I mentioned it in the first point, but a lot of times that is what hurts relationships. That's what hurts marriages, are these unrealistic expectations, these ideals that we have going into the relationship or going into the marriage. And we're holding this, in today's case, the man, to these ideals that we have. And when we find out that they are not perfect, they are human, we act accordingly. We lash out, or we nag, or whatever the case may be. You can't expect, if y'all just got married, look, if you got married to that man and he had a job making $15 an hour, you can't expect him to, now that we're married, I want you to go get a job in upper management. Like, it don't work like that. He got to work it. Like, he can work his way there, but these are conversations that you need to have before you get into a serious relationship. Where are you at, in your financially? What are your aspirations? What are your goals? It could be that he's really not trying to have a 5-bedroom brick house, 3,000 square feet. He might not want all of that. So if that's not what he wants, but that's what you want, and you didn't ask those questions before you got into a relationship with him, then those expectations that you have are unrealistic. He's not going to because he's not motivated to do that. You cannot put expectations on a man early in a relationship that are unrealistic, that are, far-fetched. Okay. You have to, you have to be patient. There has to be room for grace. When I first got married to my wife, I was not the man that I am today. Like I'm gonna be honest, I was still a boy. I probably should not have gotten married, but thank God my wife had an incredible amount of grace, and she loved me, and she was patient. And she's like she's 4 years older than me. So I was definitely not on her level of maturity, but I got there though. And that's the thing, like when it comes to relationship, when it comes to marriage, ideally you want to do the work on the front end. Okay, you want to ask these questions and eliminate as much opposition as possible by doing your work on the front end. But regardless of how much background work you do, regardless of how many questions you ask, you still have two imperfect people coming together. So you still have to have room for grace. You still have to be patient. You still have to love him as he grows and he matures. And likewise, vice versa. That's marriage. You guys have to love each other through their flaws. You guys have to pray for each other. You guys have to intercede for each other. You guys have to communicate with each other. And that's how, you're able to work through those things.
Yeah, that's why I will always tell women to avoid this. Marry progression, not potential. Now, what does that mean? A man who's all about potential is going to put you in a certain situation where you kind of be like, why am I even in this situation? But in order for a relationship or a marriage to succeed, his progression has to match your perspective. Perspective gives you the ability to see, oh, I can understand his progression. His progression doesn't mean he's just now starting and y'all just got married. We're talking about progression that is that's evident, that this man is endeavoring to accomplish these goals and whatever, and you see track record. But if you don't have the right type of perspective that says, you know what, I can understand the realistic time frame for this to be manifested, right? And so if your expectation is, if you have a false expectation or understanding about marriage, you're going to put unnecessary expectation on that man. So that's why we have to go to God and understand, what does it even really mean to be married? What does it even mean to even, or how should we perceive relationships? Because if not, you're going to open up this Pandora's box and this pressure on this man, because you're thinking it's supposed to be this way. And the reason why I believe a lot of women are positioned in this kind of way, I won't even say a lot, but why some women are positioned this way, because they wasn't able to see it in the home. Whatever, it's hard to do what you never seen. That's why you have to change your outlook and see things the way God wants you to see them. Just because you never seen it in your home doesn't mean that you can't really have the right perspective and outlook to make sure that it's in your home correctly, right? And so when it comes to this particular issue, is that you have to make sure that you're not expecting from him what God is not expecting from him. Never expect from anybody what God doesn't even expect from them. Don't expect anything from someone that you don't even expect from yourself. That's the double standard. And we have to all make sure that we're not living in a double standard world where you begin to expect from this man, but you have no evidence in your own life. That's not fair to him to expect from this man, or vice versa, but for ladies particularly, to expect this way of living or way of doing. If you expect them to have a six-pack and be healthy and wealthy, and you're not contributing to health or wealth, then that's unfair pressure. And so expectations should be from scripture, not from entitlement. So I can't get mad at my wife if I err in scripture. She's supposed to be on me. Yo, you supposed to be operating at this level. That's what the word of God, that's what we build our lives on. But if there's some false expectation there out of left field, then it's coming from a place of entitlement. The goal of life is to always expect from experience or proper understanding. Any expectation, there's nothing worse than ignorance and arrogance. There's no worse combination than ignorance and arrogance. How can you be arrogant about something that you're ignorant of? And what I'm saying is, we can never speak from a place of entitlement if we do not have experience and understanding that comes from God's word. If not, that man's going to run. That man does not want to be. Listen, there's enough pressure as a man as it is. We don't have much room for more pressure. And so that's why it's important that we, or that ladies, do not come from a place of entitlement, or don't come from a place of ignorance, or come from a place of expecting from someone that they're not even expecting from themselves.
For sure. And that's not to mistake the fact that you are well within your rights to expect certain things.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I definitely don't want anyone to get the idea that, oh, you're supposed to just accept any old guy that comes your way. Because y'all know, like, we don't roll like that. Like J.E. said, your expectations are basically are based off of scripture. And even then, it's with grace now. Now, his job is to be a provider for you. So that's his job. You have the right to expect that from the man that you're with. Now, if you're expecting him to go above and beyond and provide you with, the 5-story, the 3,000 square foot house, like I was saying, now that's where you're getting into, expectations that you have that may not line up necessarily with scripture. He's providing, he's just not providing what you want. You absolutely are well within your rights to expect him to be faithful to you. You're well within your rights to expect him to respect you. Yeah. You know what I mean? So this don't mean, I can't say nothing to him. I'm supposed to just accept any old thing that comes by. Heck no, absolutely not. But it's just that unrealistic expectations, the things that you may, want in your heart, or the things that you saw, growing up in your parents' marriage, or in books that you read that you thought was how marriage is supposed to be, and you're putting that on him. That's when it gets to be a problem.
Yeah. But before we go to our next point, you know the deal. We're going to go ahead and transition from the Coach Josh page to the Good Guys page. So basically, make sure you go to the link in the full podcast. Wow. The link to the full podcast. Okay. We're back. But let me go ahead and give y'all the link. You can tell, man, we cannot skip a week, bro.
You're right.
We cannot skip a week, bro. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and show you guys, or send you guys the link to the full podcast. So everyone who's watching the Good Guys podcast on my page here on YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and post the link right now so that you all can go ahead and transition over to the Good Guys page. And we're going to go ahead and shut it down over here. So go ahead and head over to the Good Guys page right now. And go ahead while you're over there. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe while you're over there. We'll love to have you a part of the Coach Josh and the Good Guys family. And then I want you to go over after this podcast to go to the B&B family and subscribe over there. And if you have eyes that can see, you can see what we're doing over here. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel on the Coach Josh page, and we'll see you all